The hospital hallway hummed. Cold. Bright. Unforgiving. Nurses moved fast. Doctors faster. Everyone busy. Everyone tired. Everyone watching. She stood near room 214. Clipboard pressed to her chest. Hands steady. Heart not. A monitor beeped behind the door. Slow. Uneven. Wrong. The patient inside was struggling. Elderly. Fragile. Fading. But this wasn't the moment that broke her. That moment was coming. It was walking toward her. White coat. Fast steps. Jaw tight. The doctor. He stopped in front of her. Close enough to threaten. Close enough to blame. His eyes were sharp. Sharp enough to cut. Sharp enough to wound without touching her. He looked at the chart in her hands. Then at her. Then back. Like the chart offended him. Like she did too. The tension thickened. Coiled. Ready to snap? He spoke. Short. Harsh. Accusatory. The words hit her like a slap. Her chest tightened. Her breath stumbled. Her mind froze for a second. He accused her of negligence. Of missing a dose. Of endangering a patient. He accused her before checking the chart. Before checking the logs. Before checking himself. A classic move. The same move she'd seen for years. The same move every nurse knew. When something went wrong, blame the one with the lower badge. Her throat tightened. Her eyes stung. But she didn't break. She couldn't. Not here. Not in this hallway. Not in front of him. She held the clipboard tighter. Pressed her fingers into the edges. Grounded herself in the sting. The patient behind the door coughed. Weak. Alarming. The doctor didn't flinch. He just continued. Faster now. Harsher. Every sentence a cut. Every word a verdict. He painted her as careless. Reckless. Incompetent. He raised his voice. Loud enough for the hallway to hear. Loud enough for coworkers to look over. Loud enough to shame her. She swallowed hard. Her heartbeat pounded in her ears. Her dignity slipping through shaking fingers. She tried to speak. Tried to explain. Tried to show him the real order. The real dose. The real timestamp. But he didn't let her. He talked over her. Through her. Past her. As if she wasn't even human. A resident walked by. He slowed. Listened. Frowned. He looked at the doctor. Then at her. He opened his mouth, but stopped. Fear won. Hierarchy was a cage. She stood there. Silent. Burning. Holding the chart like a shield. The doctor ended his tirade with a sentence that cut deeper than the rest. A sentence meant to break her spirit. A sentence he'd used before on others. A sentence that said she didn't belong. She blinked fast. Held her chest still. Held everything still. He turned away. Dismissed her. Walked into the patient's room as if he hadn't just crushed someone in the hallway. She exhaled. A shaky breath. Quiet. Painful. Her shoulders trembled. Her jaw clenched. Her eyes burned. Injustice sat heavy in her chest. Hot. Unspoken. Unfair. But she didn't crumble. Not yet. She stepped back. Pressed her fingers to her temples. Forced the tears down. Forced the world to stay steady. Because she knew something he didn't. She logged every dose. Every minute. Every shift. Perfectly. And what he accused her of, she hadn't done. Her record was clean. Her conscience steady. But the truth? The truth was buried. Hidden. Locked behind a door she wasn't allowed to open. Not yet. Because the real mistake, the one the doctor blamed her for, wasn't hers. Someone else caused it. Someone the doctor trusted. Someone he'd protect at all costs. She knew this. She felt it deep. Like a bruise under the skin. Like a warning. And as she stood there, holding the chart against her heart, A chilling realization settled in. This wasn't the first time he blamed her. And it wouldn't be the last. Unless the truth spoke up. And it would. Soon. Because injustice doesn't stay quiet. Not forever. And neither would she. She walked away from the door. Slow steps. Controlled. Measured. Because if she moved too fast she might break. The hallway lights buzzed above her. Cold. Clinical. Unforgiving. Every step echoed. Every breath felt heavy. Every glance from coworkers felt like a question she couldn't answer. Not yet. She reached the nurse's station. Sat down. Placed the chart on the counter. Hands trembling now. Slightly. Barely. Enough for her to notice. Another nurse looked over. Concerned. Quiet. Uncertain. She forced a small nod. A signal that meant, "I'm fine." Even though she wasn't. She opened the chart. Reviewed every line. Every dose. Every timestamp. All perfect. All clean. All correct. No mistake. None. Her work was accurate. Flawless, even. But someone had altered something. She felt it. Like a shadow in the corner of her vision. Like a whisper she wasn't supposed to hear. She pulled up the digital record. Checked the logs. Checked the scanned medications. Everything matched her memory. Until it didn't. One entry. One timestamp. One dosage. Wrong. Not by her hand. Not on her shift. Not anywhere near her hours. But the digital log showed her name. Her stomach twisted. Cold. Deep. Sickening. Someone tampered with it. Someone changed the log. Someone needed a scapegoat. And she was the easy target. She closed her eyes. Pressed her palms against her forehead. Thought through the shifts. The nurses. The aides. The residents. The people who had access. It wasn't a mistake. It was a setup. Every instinct in her body told her so. Every year of working twice as hard to be treated half as fair told her so. She stood up. Quietly. Firmly. Walked to the supply room. Closed the door behind her. Leaned against it. Exhaled. The silence wrapped around her. A small, cramped sanctuary from a world determined to break her. Her heartbeat slowed. Her spine straightened. Her resolve sharpened. If they wanted to blame her, they would have to try harder. Because she wasn't weak. She wasn't scared. She wasn't alone. She had truth. She had her records. She had years of flawless performance. She had colleagues who trusted her. And deep down, she had someone else. Someone unexpected. Someone silent but watching everything. Room 214's patient. Old. Fragile. But aware. More aware than people realized. She remembered the way his eyes followed the doctor. The way they flicked toward her. Sharp. Knowing. Almost warning. Like he saw something. Heard something. Understood something no one else did. Like he knew the truth long before she did. She didn't know it yet, but the patient had heard the argument. He had seen the doctor's anger. He had witnessed the event that started all this. And soon, very soon, his voice would matter. But for now, she breathed in the quiet supply room. Gathered her strength. Held on to her dignity like it was the last piece of her. Then she stepped back into the hallway. Ready. Steady. Determined. Because injustice had taken its first swing. But she wasn't going down. Not today. Not ever. The hallway felt different now. Heavier. Colder. Like the walls themselves knew something was wrong. She walked slowly. Steady breaths. Calm face. But inside, everything churned. Whispers rose behind her. Faint. Sharp. Coworkers pretending not to stare. Pretending not to judge. Pretending not to choose sides. Some believed her. Some didn't. Some stayed quiet, the most dangerous group of all. She moved past them without breaking stride. Because she knew something they didn't, the truth had a pulse. A rhythm. A heartbeat. And sooner or later, it would speak. She reached room 214 again. Paused at the door. Hand hovering over the handle. Breath caught in her chest. The patient inside was stable now. Barely. But stable. She pushed the door open quietly. The monitor beeped in slow, tired patterns. The air smelled faintly of antiseptic and age. The blinds were half closed, cutting the light into thin, fragile stripes across the sheets. The patient turned his head. Weak. But aware. His eyes met hers. Soft. Tired. But clear. Clearer than she expected. Clearer than the doctor believed. She stepped closer. Checked the four. Checked the lines. Checked the vitals. Professional. Precise. Perfect. His gaze followed her hands. Slow. Intent. Like he was trying to tell her something without speaking. She leaned in slightly. Careful. Gentle. His lips parted. Barely. She leaned a bit closer. A whisper escaped. Small. Slow. Fragile. But real. And what he whispered stopped her heart. Not words of pain. Not confusion. Not delirium. But truth. Truth he had seen. Truth he remembered. Truth he needed her to know. Her eyes widened. Then softened. Then filled with something she hadn't felt since the hallway confrontation. Proof. She squeezed his hand gently. A silent thank you. A silent promise. She would protect his words. She would protect him. She would fight. She stepped back, heart pounding now. Not from fear, but from hope. Because what he whispered changed everything. It wasn't loud. It wasn't long. It wasn't dramatic. But it was enough. Enough to open a crack in the wall of lies built against her. Enough to shift the balance. Enough to start a chain reaction no one could stop once it began. She exited the room quietly. Closed the door softly behind her. Then she stood still. Eyes on the floor. Breath trembling. Because now she knew, she wasn't imagining it. She wasn't paranoid. She wasn't wrong. Someone tampered with that chart. Someone framed her. Someone wanted her silenced. But they forgot one thing. Patients see more than people think. And this patient had seen everything. She lifted her head slowly. Shoulders squared. Heart steady. The truth was coming. Piece by piece. Word by word. Whisper by whisper. And the doctor, the one who blamed her, had no idea his world was starting to crack. The blinds rattled. Someone walked past the nurse's station. Footsteps. Slow. Heavy. She froze. Her badge still shook in her hand. She tried to breathe quietly. Calmly. But her chest was tight. Too tight. Then a voice, low, careful. Are you okay? She turned. It was the night shift transporter. A quiet man who usually kept to himself. He looked worried. Really worried. She forced a smile. I'm fine, she whispered. He didn't believe her. No one would. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. They said something happened in the OR. They're saying you. Her stomach dropped. There it was. The rumor had already evolved. Grown teeth. Grown claws. She clenched her fists. What exactly are they saying? She asked. He swallowed. That you put the patient at risk. Her eyes burned instantly. That's a lie, she said. Her voice shook. You know that's a lie. He nodded. I know. But people don't wait for facts. She looked away. Down the hallway. Into the dim light that felt colder now. That hallway. The same hallway where she had smiled yesterday. The same hallway where people had nodded at her, joked with her, trusted her. Now it felt like a tunnel. A long, echoing tunnel. He hesitated. Do you want me to walk you to the break room? She shook her head slowly. No. I need to see someone. Her voice wasn't steady. Her hands weren't steady. Nothing felt steady. She walked. Past the empty waiting chairs. Past the nurses who avoided eye contact. Past the glass board where patient statuses were written in careful dry erase lines. Past everything she had poured her heart into. She reached the supervisor's door. It was slightly open. She heard voices inside. 2 of them. Her supervisor. And someone else. She leaned in. Just enough to hear. She should be suspended immediately, the man said. His voice sharp. Confident. Too confident. Her heart stopped. Suspended. She pressed her back against the wall, silent. The supervisor exhaled. I don't want to rush to judgment, she said. We need a full review. I've already filed my report. The man snapped. You've seen it. The man. His voice. She knew that voice. She knew exactly who it was. He had been in the OR. He had raised his voice at her. He had refused to listen. And now, he was rewriting the truth. She closed her eyes, fighting the sting. Her supervisor spoke again, softer this time. She's one of our strongest nurses. And her track record is spotless. The man scoffed. No one's spotless. The words pierced. She tried to swallow. Her throat tightened. She stepped back. Slowly. Quietly. Her supervisor's door blurred. The hallway blurred. Her own breath blurred. She walked away before she could break. She held her tears until she turned the corner. Then one escaped. Just one. A tiny, hot drop on her cheek. She brushed it away quickly. Because she wasn't done. She wasn't defeated. She wasn't going anywhere. Not yet. Not until she found the truth buried under their lies. And dragged it back into the light. She walked until the corridor ended. A dead end. A quiet corner of the hospital where no one ever stopped unless they needed to cry or breathe or break. She leaned against the wall. The cold touched her back. Her mind raced. Not with panic. With questions. Why him? Why now? Why this lie? She closed her eyes, letting the silence settle. But the silence didn't stay silent. It replayed the events. Every second. Every command. Every warning sign she didn't realize was a warning. The patient. The monitor. The sudden drop in vitals. Her instinct. Her quick hands. Her certainty. Her voice telling them something was wrong. Their voices talking over her. Then the man's voice, higher than usual, angry, frustrated, shouting at her. Step back. You're interfering. She hadn't interfered. She had saved the patient. Everyone in that room knew it. Everyone saw it. But truth didn't matter when someone powerful needed a scapegoat. She lifted her head slowly. Footsteps approached. She tensed. Then a soft knock on the wall. Her supervisor. Not angry. Not cold. Concerned. Can we talk? She nodded, unsure if her voice would hold. They walked to a small office. One with dim lights and old chairs and a box of tissues no one replaced because everyone used them. The supervisor shut the door gently. Sit, she said. She sat. Her supervisor hesitated. Pulled a chair. Sat across from her. Leaned in. What happened? She asked quietly. Not accusing. Not assuming. Just asking. Her breath shook. He's lying, she whispered. The supervisor nodded like she already knew. But knowing wasn't enough. She needed proof. Her supervisor folded her hands. I've worked with you for years. I know your judgment. I know your integrity. She paused. But his report is severe. Her stomach tightened. Severe. A word that could end everything. A career. A livelihood. A reputation. A future she had built one shift at a time while fighting twice as hard as everyone else. She clenched her jaw. He wasn't paying attention, she said. The patient was crashing. I tried to warn him. He ignored me. Her voice cracked. I wasn't trying to take control. I was trying to save a life. Her supervisor lowered her eyes. That's what I thought. Silence. Heavy. Sad. Then the supervisor leaned closer. There's more, she said softly. He wasn't the only one who filed the statement. Her chest tightened sharply. Another. Someone else. Someone she trusted? Someone who stood there and watched? Her heart pounded. Who? She whispered. Her supervisor didn't answer immediately. That silence told her everything. Everything she feared. Everything she didn't want to believe. Her supervisor spoke the next words carefully. It was one of the nurses on your team. The air left her lungs. Her team. Her people. Her shift. Her unit. Someone she had helped. Someone she had covered shifts for. Someone she defended once when management questioned a mistake. Betrayal felt different in hospitals. It wasn't knives. It was pens. Signatures. Statements. Silence. She swallowed hard. Her voice came out small. Why would they do that? Her supervisor sighed. Fear. Pressure. Politics. Maybe a promise. Maybe a threat. Maybe something worse. Maybe something uglier. Something she had always felt but never named. Her supervisor reached out, resting a hand on hers. I'm not suspending you, she said. Not yet. A pause. But the investigation starts tonight. Tonight. Her world shrank. To a room. To a chair. To one truth she couldn't afford to lose. She nodded slowly. Tears touched her eyelashes but didn't fall. Not yet. Not here. Not in front of someone who still believed in her. Her supervisor squeezed her hand gently. I'm going to do everything I can, she said. But you need to prepare yourself. Prepare for what? She whispered. Her supervisor hesitated. For the storm that's coming. The storm arrived sooner than she expected. It didn't start with shouts. Or meetings. Or paperwork. It started with looks. Small. Sharp. Quick. A few nurses glanced away when she passed. A few whispered just enough for her to feel it. A few took the long way around her station. She felt every shift in the air. Every silence. Every crack in trust. The hospital had always been loud. But today, the volume felt different. Colder. She returned to her station. Her badge felt heavier. Her scrubs felt tighter. Her chest felt bruised. When she logged into the charting system, a pop-up message appeared. You have been temporarily restricted from critical care authorization pending review. Her throat tightened. They took her access. That meant fewer patients. Fewer responsibilities. Fewer chances to prove anything. A slow suffocation disguised as protocol. Her hands trembled on the keyboard. She looked around. People avoided eye contact, but she could feel them watching. She heard the doctor's voice before she saw him. Strong. Confident. Too confident. He walked down the hallway surrounded by two residents. They laughed at something he said. His white coat swayed behind him like he owned the entire floor. He didn't look at her. Not even once. And that hurt more than the shouting. Because ignoring was intentional. Ignoring meant he knew she had truth. Ignoring meant he feared what she might do with it. Her supervisor approached her again, quietly. We need to go upstairs, she said. Administration wants to speak with you. Her stomach dropped. Now? Yes. They took the elevator. Every floor they passed felt like another piece of the ground disappearing beneath her feet. The conference room was bright. Too bright. Too perfect. A long glass table. 2 chairs on one side. 3 on the other. Waiting. She sat. Her supervisor sat beside her, shoulders firm, quiet but present. A woman from HR walked in. A man from compliance. and another from risk management. Their folders were thick. She felt like she was shrinking. HR opened the folder. We're here to review the incident from this morning. Incident. Not crisis. Not emergency. Not near-fatal oversight. Incident. The language was already against her. HR continued. The attending physician provided a full account. His colleagues corroborated his version of events. Corroborated. Her pulse skipped. Of course they had. Power protects itself. Risk management slid a paper forward. A printed statement. Not his. Not hers. Another nurse. Her teammate. Her colleague. Her betrayal. The statement read. She stepped into the doctor's space, disrupted care, and escalated the situation unnecessarily. Her hands curled. She almost ripped the page in half. Her supervisor saw it, her shaking, so she placed a gentle hand on her arm. A grounding touch. Compliance cleared his throat. We need your version. Her version. The words felt small. Fragile. Like they were giving her a chance to speak only because procedure required it, not because they believed she had anything worth saying. She took a breath. Then another. Her voice came out low, steady. I didn't step into his space. I stepped toward the patient. HR scribbled something. She didn't like the sound of the pen. She kept going. The vitals dropped. I saw it first. I called it out. He dismissed it. More scribbles. I didn't escalate anything. I responded to an emergency. My only focus was keeping that patient alive. She paused, breathing through her chest tightening. And I did. That silence after the last line hit the room hard. Heavy. Uncomfortable. None of the three looked up. None acknowledged the truth sitting raw between them. Risk management finally spoke. There's one more witness statement we haven't shown you yet. Her heart skipped. Another statement. Another betrayal? HR passed the final page across the table. But the handwriting was different. The tone was different. Clearer. Sharper. Honest. She blinked. Read again. It wasn't against her. It was for her. Her breath caught. The statement said, I saw her act before anyone else noticed the monitor drop. She prevented an arrest. The doctor was distracted. He ignored her warning. She saved the patient. Her hands shook. Not from fear. From relief. A tiny light in a long tunnel. Her supervisor leaned in. Whispered just loud enough for her to hear. You're not alone. The HR rep looked unsettled. Compliance frowned. Risk management folded his hands, processing. The room shifted. Power trembled. For the first time today, she felt the truth rising. Slowly. Steadily. Unstoppable. The HR rep adjusted her glasses. A small gesture. But it revealed everything. Nervous. Thrown off. Unprepared for a truth that didn't match the story they'd already decided on. Risk management tapped the paper. This witness, who is this? Her pulse quickened. She knew the handwriting. She recognized the confidence in every stroke. It belonged to someone quiet. Someone who didn't get involved in drama. Someone who worked in silence, always watching, always steady. Someone who had nothing to gain by defending her. The room waited. She kept her face calm. Still. Controlled. The HR rep sighed. We will need to verify this. She nodded. But inside, something cracked open. A breath she hadn't taken all day finally escaped. The supervisor beside her shifted forward, voice firming. Before we proceed with consequences, we need video review. Compliance frowned. There is no audio. We don't need audio, she replied. We need facts. Video. Her stomach tightened. She had almost forgotten. Every hallway had cameras. Every corner. Every doorway. The one thing no one could rewrite. HR hesitated. Risk management stiffened. Compliance tapped his pen. She felt her pulse in her wrist. Then HR finally said, "We'll review the footage." The supervisor nodded. It was decided. The truth, real truth, was finally being pulled into the room. Compliance stood first. "We'll reconvene this afternoon." They left in a quiet line. 1, 2, 3. The door closed. Silence filled the room. Her supervisor turned to her. Eyes soft. Voice low. "You did the right thing." The words hit like warmth against cold skin. She swallowed. "It doesn't feel like it." "It will," her supervisor said. "They can misunderstand you. They can doubt you. But they can't unsee camera footage." Her throat tightened. Her hands trembled again, but not with fear this time. With hope. Hope made her dizzy. She walked out of the conference room slowly. Carefully. Every step felt fragile. When she reached the elevator, she saw something strange. 2 nurses waiting. Whispering. When they saw her, they fell silent. But not in the same way as before. This silence felt curious. Cautious. Like they knew something was shifting. She stepped into the elevator. The doors closed. She leaned back against the railing. Her chest rose. Fell. Her reflection overlapped with the steel behind it. Tired eyes, tight jaw, but fire still burning. She whispered only to herself, "I'm not done." When the elevator reached her floor, she stepped out. Then she saw him. The doctor. Standing near the nurse's station. Surrounded. Talking fast. Hands cutting through the air. Defensive. Explaining. Justifying. His voice carried. Even across the floor. "She misread the vitals, that's all." Her supervisor stepped beside him. "The footage is being reviewed." His jaw tightened. There it was. Fear. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just a tiny spark behind the eyes. She didn't flinch this time. She didn't shrink. She didn't bow under his authority. She walked past him. Calm. Steady. Unbroken. He followed her with his eyes. Watching her like a threat he didn't see coming. She didn't stop. Didn't turn. Didn't give him a second of her breath. But inside? Inside she whispered, "You're afraid of the truth. And that means it's already winning." She went back to her station. Sat down slowly. Her hands hovered over the keyboard, but she couldn't type. Not yet. Not with her pulse still beating against her ribs like a warning bell. The room felt different now. Still tense. Still heavy. But shifting. Like the air pressure had changed. Like the walls were listening. A few nurses glanced her way. Not hostile. Not warm. Just watching. Waiting. Then her phone buzzed. A message from the charge nurse. "Admin reviewing footage now. Stay on standby." Her chest tightened. This was it. The moment everything could flip. Or collapse. She closed her eyes. Inhaled through her nose. Slow. Deep. The beeping of monitors. The low hum of the ventilation. The soft shuffle of shoes across linoleum. All of it felt louder. Her thoughts spiraled. What if the angle was bad? What if the camera didn't catch the monitor drop? What if they twisted the timeline? What if? A chair slid beside her. The transporter sat down quietly. The same one who asked if she was okay earlier. He looked straight ahead. Not at her. Like he didn't want attention on either of them. "They're saying the camera angle is clear," he whispered. Her breath caught. Clear. Clear was good. Clear meant truth. He continued. "People upstairs are talking. The footage shows you reacting first. Before anyone else moved." Her hands shook. Not with fear. With something sharper. Something powerful. He lowered his voice even more. "And it shows the doctor waving you off." Heat rushed through her chest. For a moment she couldn't breathe. Couldn't blink. Then she forced air into her lungs. "Thank you," she whispered. He shrugged, looking forward again. No need. Truth is truth. He stood, pushing the chair back. Before walking away, he added, You deserve better than what they're doing to you. She swallowed hard. The kindness almost broke her. Almost. But she held steady. Her phone buzzed again. Another message. This time from her supervisor. Conference room. Now. Her heart slammed once. Her legs felt weak. But she stood. Walked. Step by step. Down the hallway. Past the suspicious eyes. Past the whispers. Past the doctor pretending he wasn't watching her move. She reached the conference room. Her supervisor was inside. Arms crossed. Face unreadable. HR was seated. Compliance, too. Risk management. All of them waiting. The atmosphere felt heavier than before. She sat. Her supervisor gave the slightest nod. Reassurance. Strength. The HR rep cleared her throat. We've reviewed the footage. Silence. Long silence. Too long. Her pulse hammered. Risk management leaned forward. It clearly shows you noticing the vital drop first. Her chest tightened. HR continued slowly. It also shows you stepping toward the patient, not the doctor. Her eyes burned. But she didn't blink. Compliance added. And it shows the doctor dismissing your warning. The room shifted. Power shifted. Lies cracked under the weight of truth. HR set her pen down. Given the evidence, you are cleared of all allegations. Her hands trembled. Her breath escaped in a shaky exhale. Her supervisor's gaze softened. Risk management spoke next, his voice low. But there's more. Her smile faded. He continued. The footage raises serious concerns about the attending physician's conduct. Her heart stilled. The supervisor nodded. We will be initiating a formal investigation into his actions. The air left her lungs all at once. Not from fear. From justice. Real justice. HR added quietly. We owe you an apology. She didn't move. Couldn't. Words didn't feel big enough for what was happening. But her supervisor spoke for her. She doesn't need an apology, she said. She needs protection. And this time, no one disagreed. The room stayed still. Too still. Everyone waited for someone else to speak. Someone else to move. Someone else to break the silence they had all helped create. Her supervisor didn't wait. She leaned forward. Voice steady. Voice controlled. Voice sharp enough to draw blood. She was nearly suspended because someone higher in the hierarchy felt untouchable. Compliance shifted uncomfortably. Risk management looked away. HR tucked her pen behind her folder like she suddenly needed both hands free. Her supervisor continued. You all saw the footage. You saw what he did. You saw what she prevented. She swallowed. Her throat was tight again, but not from fear. From something heavier. Recognition. Validation. Justice beginning to breathe. Her supervisor's words cut through the room like a blade. If she hadn't acted, we'd be discussing a dead patient right now. Silence. Cold. Sharp. Undeniable. The HR rep smoothed the edges of her papers. We acknowledge that. The supervisor didn't blink. Didn't soften. Acknowledgement is the bare minimum. Risk management cleared his throat. The physician will be interviewed. His privileges may be temporarily restricted until we finish the investigation. Her chest tightened. Restricted. It wasn't enough. Not yet. But it was a crack. And cracks spread. Compliance added. And the nurse involved. He nodded toward her. We'll have full reinstatement of all access and duties. She inhaled shakily. Full reinstatement. Her authority. Her responsibility. Her credibility. All restored? But the ache didn't leave. The bruise on her spirit didn't fade. Because the damage had already happened. The whisper campaigns. The stares. The doubt. The fear of losing everything she'd earned through years of effort. It didn't disappear just because they said she was cleared. She felt her supervisor's gaze. Strong. Firm. Reassuring. Then HR spoke again. We will also send a written statement to staff clarifying the findings. She froze. A written statement. To everyone. Her voice stayed steady. What will the statement say? HR shifted. Then answered. That you responded appropriately. That you were correct. And that the event was misrepresented. Misrepresented. She almost laughed. A soft, breathless sound. They refused to say the word lied. But she didn't need them to. She knew the truth. And soon, the whole hospital would too. The meeting ended there. Papers gathered. Chairs slid back. Doors opened. One by one, the administrators filed out. Avoiding her eyes. Avoiding the truth. Avoiding their own guilt. Her supervisor waited until the door clicked shut. Then turned to her. You okay? She nodded. But tears stung anyway. Not from weakness. From release. Her supervisor placed a hand on her shoulder. You deserve better, she whispered. And you will get better. She inhaled slowly. Deep. Steady. I'm scared of going back out there, she admitted. Her supervisor nodded. That means you're human. But you're also strong. Stronger than what they tried to do to you. She closed her eyes for a moment, letting the words settle. Then she stood. She walked to the door. Paused with her hand on the handle. Her supervisor asked, You ready? No. Not really. But she opened the door anyway. The hallway was silent. Too silent. Eyes turned toward her. Nurses. Techs. Residents. Admin staff. Every conversation paused. Every hand stilled. Every look lingered. She felt the weight of all of it pressing on her chest. Then someone stepped forward. A nurse from day's shift. Older. Softer. Usually quiet. She spoke in a gentle voice. I heard what they found. Another nurse joined her. You did the right thing. Another. We're sorry they put you through that. Then another. And another. The whispers weren't cold anymore. They were warm. Human. Supportive. Slowly, so slowly, the crowd shifted. Respect returning. Trust returning. Truth returning. Then the transporter walked by. Met her eyes. Gave a single nod. The kind that said everything. She nodded back. Something inside her steadied. Her heart. Her breath. Her spine. She walked to her station. Sat down. Logged in. Her full access restored. It felt like a victory. A quiet one. A fragile one. But a real one. Her monitor reflected her silhouette. Still here. Still standing. Still fighting. Her thoughts whispered. They tried to break me. They failed. But justice wasn't done yet. Not until the doctor faced what he had done. Not until truth was louder than power. Not until the whole story came out. She wasn't finished. Not even close. She made it through the next hour on muscle memory alone. Vitals. Rounds. Charting. Breath in. Breath out. But her mind kept drifting back to the conference room. The footage. The faces. The shift in power. Justice had begun its slow crawl. And justice never rushed. Justice waited. Watched. Gathered strength. But she wasn't prepared for what happened next. A message pinged on her screen. You are requested in administration. Floor 5. Her stomach tightened again. Why now? They had already spoken to her. Already cleared her. Her supervisor appeared beside her, breathless. They called me too, she said. Let's go. They walked together. Fast. Focused. When they reached the administrative wing, the door to the conference room was open. Inside. The doctor was already seated. Alone. Hands folded too tightly. jaw trembling under his skin. Foot tapping. Not confident now. Not composed. Just cornered. He didn't look up when they entered. Didn't breathe. Didn't move. HR sat across from him. Compliance beside her. Risk management at the end of the table with a thick file open. Her supervisor stepped in behind her. The tension in the room felt electrical. Then HR spoke. We repeated the footage review with the chief of staff. The doctor's shoulders tensed. Risk management flipped a page. And we pulled the audio logs from the bedside monitor. Her eyes widened. Audio logs. Even without microphones. Even without cameras. The machines recorded every alarm. Every drop. Every spike. Every ignored warning. Compliance folded his hands. Your response time was 36 seconds slower than hers. The doctor's face went pale. HR continued. And you dismissed her warning despite the alarm being visible behind you. His throat bobbed. A tiny swallow. Barely there. But loud in a silent room. Her supervisor stepped forward. He knew, she said. He knew she was right and he dismissed her because he didn't want to be corrected. The doctor finally snapped. That's not, I wasn't she. His words collided with each other. Messy. Panicked. Uncertain. For the first time. He wasn't performing. HR held up a printed screenshot. A still frame from the footage. The moment he waved her off. Hand dismissive. Expression irritated. Her silhouette leaning toward the patient. Monitor flashing red. The truth captured in pixels. The doctor stared at it. Frozen. He whispered something too low to catch. Risk management closed the file. This shows negligence. The word hit like thunder. Negligence. He flinched. Compliance added. And potential discrimination. Her heart stopped for a beat. Discrimination? Her supervisor's voice sharpened. She made the correct call. She prioritized the patient. She followed protocol. She was targeted afterward. HR didn't disagree. Instead, she spoke slowly. The board will need to review this. The doctor collapsed back into his chair. Defeated. Small. Power unraveling thread by thread. He whispered again. I wasn't targeting her. HR answered calmly. The pattern suggests otherwise. He shook his head. Hands trembling now. I didn't mean, I never meant, I just. He couldn't finish. Because intent didn't erase impact. Not when a patient almost died. Not when a nurse was nearly destroyed. Not when truth was plastered across screens in a dozen still frames. Her supervisor placed a hand on her back. A silent "you're okay." He's not. Risk management turned to her. You should know, the witness who defended you didn't just submit a statement. Her breath caught. They went to the chief nursing officer personally. That's why the review was expedited. She blinked hard. The transporter. Quiet. Steady. Brave in ways no one saw coming. My office will follow up, HR added. But for now, you are fully cleared. Permanently. There will be no mark on your record. Her chest ached with relief. Warm. Deep. Overwhelming. Then compliance spoke. The physician's privileges are suspended pending board review. The doctor's head dropped into his hands. She didn't feel joy. Not satisfaction. Not triumph. Just balance. A weight lifted from her shoulders and placed back where it always belonged. Her supervisor nodded once. It's not revenge, she whispered to her. It's accountability. She swallowed hard. Finally something felt right. The meeting ended. She walked out slowly. Her supervisor beside her. She felt the shift in her bones. A chapter closing. A new one opening. A long fight settling into quiet victory. In the elevator down, her supervisor asked, How do you feel? She exhaled. Broken. Relieved. Angry. Grateful. All of it at once. I feel seen, she said softly. Her supervisor smiled. That's what justice feels like. The doors opened. The hallway stretched before her. Her chest felt lighter. Her mind clearer. Her steps stronger. She walked back toward the unit she saved that morning. Toward the place that tried to crush her. Toward the truth she fought for. She wasn't afraid now. Not even a little. She whispered to herself. They tried to bury me. But I grow in the dark. She stood there for a long time. Not moving. Not thinking. Just breathing in that empty hallway. The fluorescent lights hummed above her. Cold. Steady. Unbothered. Her world was breaking apart, and the building carried on like nothing had happened. She wiped her face. Her hands shook. Her throat burned from holding back the sobs. But she wasn't done yet. She couldn't be. Not when the truth was this close. She forced herself to walk. One step. Then another. Her legs felt heavy, like she was wading through water. She reached the stairwell door. Pushed it open. The metal handle scraped her palm, but she didn't care. Down the stairs. Her heartbeat echoed in her ears. Every step felt louder than the last. She stopped on the second-floor landing. This was where the off-shift nurses usually took their breaks. Where the gossip spread. Where secrets leaked. She listened. Voices floated through the air, soft, tired, casual. She took a slow breath and stepped through the door. 3 nurses sat around a small table. Coffee cups. A half-open bag of chips. A phone charging in the wall. All 3 looked up when she walked in. Their eyes widened. Their posture stiffened. Everyone knew something was wrong. She didn't bother with pleasantries. Did anyone hear what happened on the 4th floor today? The words came out steady. Stronger than she expected. They exchanged glances. Nervous glances. Guilty ones. Finally, one of them spoke. A younger nurse with curly hair and soft eyes. We heard some yelling, she said. And then people said the doctor reported you. But we don't believe it. We know how he is. The room went quiet again. That sentence cracked something open inside her. They knew. They had always known. Everyone had seen the way he talked to her. The way he cornered her in supply rooms. The way he raised his voice when no one else was around. She swallowed hard. Do any of you know who changed the medication log? She asked. Their eyes shifted again. More guilt. More fear. The older nurse, gray streaks in her bun, tired lines on her face, leaned forward. There's a rumor, she whispered, that the doctor had one of the interns do it. Someone desperate to stay in the program. Her chest tightened. A setup. A cowardly one. A carefully crafted one. The older nurse lowered her voice further. And we heard he's been blaming you for weeks. Little things. Tiny mistakes. Things you didn't even do. Her breath hitched. She knew he disliked her. She knew he was threatened by her competence. But this was different. This was targeted. Intentional. Cruel. The younger nurse hesitated, then grabbed her hand. We're with you, she said softly. He can't get away with this forever. For the first time all day, she felt something warm. Not hope. Not yet. But strength. A small spark of it. She nodded, thanked them, and turned to leave. But just before she stepped out the door, the older nurse called after her. Be careful, she warned. He plays dirty. And he's got friends in the right places. She didn't turn around. She didn't need to. She already knew. And now, she also knew this. If he wanted a fight, he'd chosen the wrong woman.